Hello Internet, my name is Andrew Eder and welcome to another episode of Film Editorials. I know it's been like a year and a half since I did one of these, but nothing brings me out of hibernation quite like Star Wars. Specifically, the trailer released last week at D23 called The Special Look at Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. And there's a lot of interesting stuff in there. There's like a minute of new footage, but I think the most interesting stuff happens in the old stuff. Okay, so in case you haven't been obsessively watching the trailer that was released last week like I have, it's divided into roughly two parts. The first half is about a minute long, and it's a sizzle reel, a highlight reel of the previous 8 movies in the Skywalker saga of Star Wars. So it doesn't include, Solo or Rogue One, but it's got episode 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and 7 and 8. The second half then is really a teaser for the movie that's coming out in December, which, is really exciting and there's a lot of cool stuff in there. And everybody and their brother has done some kind of analysis video on the new stuff, Rey with a double-bladed lightsaber and the Star Destroyers. I've watched some of those. I don't know what it means. I'm interested. I'm excited for the movie. The trailer has done its job. But I haven't seen anybody talking about the first half of the video, which is half the runtime of this trailer. J.J. Abrams and the team isn't just gonna, throw stuff together willy-nilly. They must have chosen those shots for a reason. And I think that reason is to show us the major plot points of the movie, at least up until the end. Now, I'm gonna say right off the bat that I'm probably wrong. I'm probably overthinking this, and there's like a 70% chance that this highlight reel from the series so far is just that. It's just a highlight reel showing off oh, you remember Luke? Here's Luke. Get excited for the new movie. Oh, you like Han? Here's Han. Get excited for the movie. Here's Darth Maul. He's cool. It's probably just, to get you hyped. Remember the good times from the Star Wars series. Get ready for it to, close itself off. But ever since I had really one thought, I haven't been able to stop thinking that there's, a hidden message here. So get out your corkboard and your red yarn, because it's about to get, conspiracy theory level stuff going on here. The first time I watched the trailer, I thought, okay, yeah, this is just a highlight reel. And then, the second through 5th times I watched the trailer, I just skipped the first minute. Because, I know the series well enough where I don't have to rewatch the whole thing every time. I just want to get to the new stuff. And that seems to be where a lot of people are coming from when they talk about this trailer. But then when I watched the whole thing again, there was one shot that stuck out to me. And that one shot is this one of Boba Fett nodding. On the one hand, this is totally innocuous. It's Boba Fett, he's a fan favorite character, he's nodding, that's a really efficient use of the shot, oh, you want to have him doing something, but you don't want to have him to be doing too much stuff, him flying on the jetpack wouldn't be very good because it's distracting, there's so much other action going on. So I understand why the trailer editors would have picked, let's just have Boba Fett and he'll do something simple. The reason why this shot set off alarm bells for me, though, was because the trailer is generally in chronological order. It's A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi. Roughly in that order. The Boba Fett shot, though, that shot is from Return of the Jedi, and it's smack in the middle of the Empire Strikes Back section. Literally, the shot immediately before it is Darth Vader on the Bridge of the Executor, which that shot is definitely from The Empire Strikes Back. And the shot that follows the Boba Fett shot is this one of Han and Leia kissing, which again is totally a highlight of the series. But why would they throw in a Return of the Jedi shot in between two Empire Strikes Back shot, only to go to the Return of the Jedi stuff a little bit later? So when I realized that the Boba Fett shot was, out of place, I went back and rewatched the whole first minute of that trailer, and I realized that there's a lot of stuff that's not where it should be if we're going chronologically. On the one hand, this could absolutely just be a decision to be what looks cool next to one another. If we look at the clips presented in the trailer, the first shot that should be in the trailer, so to speak, is R2 and 3PO walking across the hallway getting shot at by stormtroopers, then Leia, then Luke with the sunset. But that doesn't make sense emotionally. That being said, there are several shots that are out of chronological order that don't lend themselves to easy explanations for emotionality. So starting with the twin sons and Luke, that makes perfect sense. The last shot of Luke was him looking at the twin sons in The Last Jedi, so it makes sense that we're going to start with that, and that's also the start of the adventure in the original series, so that makes sense to be the beginning of this trailer that's closing off the Skywalker saga. That makes sense. But then why 2 shots later do we have the Falcon flying to Yavin? There's nothing specifically, like, emotional about that moment or significant about that moment that lends itself to, the highlight reel of the Skywalker saga. Like, it's important, I guess, but there are more interesting shots of the Falcon. There are more exciting shots of the Falcon. Why is that one selected? So let's go through the trailer shot by shot and analyze what it could mean. And I think this is where we're really going to get into like tinfoil hat and red yarn and corkboard territory, because it's going to get weird, I think, largely because we're going to have to look at this trailer in kind of a non-literal sense, almost. Like, when we see a picture of Luke, it doesn't necessarily mean it's Luke. It can mean, like, the archetype. And we could get really deep into this and go into, like, a whole hero with 1,000 faces, Joseph Campbell kind of thing going on. I don't think we're going to get that deep into it because, again, probably wrong about this, and I'm probably overthinking this like crazy, but I think the characters presented in the first part of the trailer are their archetypical stand-ins that reveal what's happening in the movie. Let's look at the trailer. Okay, so the first 2 shots of the trailer after, several seconds of black are the twin sons of Tatooine, followed by Luke looking at them wistfully. Luke, again, is our stand-in for our hero character, which for the purposes of episode 9 is definitely Rey. So the emotion here is kind of the start of an adventure and sort of a longing for a purpose. That's what Luke is feeling on Tatooine when that shot first appears. And I think Rey is going to be feeling something similar in episode 9 because she no longer has a master. She has so long relied on the fact that like her parents or somebody important are going to come find her, and now she knows that they're not. And I still think that's true. I still think that's an important emotional plot point here. And it's entirely possible that this movie's going to start on Tatooine with, Rey visiting the home of the Skywalker clan. Anakin and Luke were both from there. That's where the story would start if it's going to... There's a symmetry to that that I think is highly likely. Added to that is the third shot of the trailer, which is this one of Obi-Wan Kenobi taking off his hood. This is kind of a continuation of the other 2 scenes where Luke is looking for his purpose, and boom, here's a Jedi Master, there's his purpose, off he goes and starts his adventure. Highlight reel. Or it could be the mentor finding the student and beginning that process of teaching. We could get here on Tatooine, if my hypothesis, my harebrained hypothesis is correct, we could get, Force Luke showing up to help Rey, maybe rebuild the lightsaber, maybe that's the point of the scene. Again, that would be kind of symmetry to how Return of the Jedi was supposed to begin in that deleted scene where Luke rebuilds his lightsaber. The next shot is the one I was talking a little while ago of the Millennium Falcon flying towards Yavin. It's kind of a peaceful shot. The music is still peaceful at this point. It's just a gentle pan as the Falcon flies by. But again, this is way out of order from what actually happens in A New Hope. And we're about to go back and see some more character shots from earlier in that film. So why is this out of place? It might literally be showing us that the Falcon is going to go to another planet. It might be Yavin. Yavin might just be the stand-in for where the rebels are hanging out, where the resistance is hanging out. J.J. Abrams said at Celebration, when he released a bunch of pictures of a forest planet, that planet was going to be featured early on in the film. Yavin is a forest planet, a jungle planet. Those photos might be on Yavin. Now, it might also be somewhere else that's just a forest planet, but we still have the Falcon flying towards a forest planet early on in the trailer, which matches the things that J.J. Abrams has said about Episode 9. The next 3 shots in the trailer are of Leia, Han, and R2 and 3PO. Leia obviously is still in the movie, so, this could just be a stand-in for, yes, we're going to see Leia, but we're not going to see Han. So I think Leia and Han might be stand-ins for the concept of, the rebel archetype and the scoundrel archetype, which could go either way between Finn and Poe. I'm not sure who is who. Poe definitely was the rebel originally, but Finn has kind of taken that up now. Either way, we're starting to build, the core 3 of the team. We've seen Luke thus far, now it's Leia and Han. We've seen Rey thus far, now it's time for Poe and Finn. That kind of thing. I think the shot with R2 and 3PO is significant because not only is it a shot of R2 and 3PO, but they're also getting shot at by a bunch of stormtroopers. And I think this is significant because there are tons of shots you could do of just R2 and 3PO hanging out together. If you just want to be like, highlight reel, here's R2 and 3PO. There are plenty of shots of them just, standing there. But the fact that they're getting shot suggests that the rebel base is under attack, which is literally what's happening in that scene from A New Hope. The rebels are under attack by the Empire. the First Order could be attacking whatever rebel base is on whatever forest planet it is. Which also kind of meshes with the things that we've seen in the teaser trailer that was released back at Celebration. I think my hypothesis is further reinforced by the fact that the next shot in this D23 special look trailer is a bunch of rebels flying away from the Death Star. Now, this could definitely be a highlight reel. It's got the Falcon, it's got X-Wings, it's got Y-Wings, it's got the Death Star all in one big shot. That's really efficient use of your time when you're editing a trailer. It's also the rebels fleeing a superweapon. Now, the superweapon could be the big red lasers that like blow up a mountain range that we see later on in the trailer. Again, I'm not saying that my little decoder ring here is going to answer all the questions, because it doesn't, and it shouldn't, because I really want to have that mystery going into the movie when December comes around, but I think it's revealing of plot points. So, you know, we have all the rebels get set up, and suddenly they're under attack, and now they have to run away. That's the point. The next 4 shots are a little strange given what I've just said about having to run away, but it's scenes of celebration. There's Leia hugging Luke after the destruction of the Death Star, there's Luke walking down to get his medal, there's Han walking down to get his medal, and then there's the wide shot of Luke, Han, and Chewie walking up to get their medal together, the big wide shot of the celebration hall. How does this fit in? I'm not sure, but what we see a minute later is the gang showing up at this desert planet, and there seems to be a big party going on. Is that significant? Are they related? I don't know, but there are scenes of celebration early on in this footage that we've seen. Also, at the teaser trailer, we know that the desert planet is home of like a chase and stuff, so I don't think that the celebration comes at the end of the movie like, oh yay, we've won, here's a party, because there's still like, you know, First Order troopers with jetpacks and stuff. Also, we know from the earlier teaser trailer that Rey does actually handle one of the medals received at Yavin. So again, this is a connection to the D23 stuff, they get the medals, look, here's Rey holding the medal. There's a connection there. I don't know what the connection is, but there's a connection. Now we start to enter footage from The Empire Strikes Back. First up is AT-AT's firing. The Empire is attacking. The First Order is attacking. Not surprising, I don't know what it means, but I mean, the First Order is probably going to be stomping all over everybody as much as it can, so there's a fight scene. Okay. Then you have Vader on the bridge of the Executor, which I think is just going to be the stand-in for our helmeted villain standing on the bridge of his big evil ship, which is not surprising considering Kylo Ren's going to be in the movie wearing his helmet. So, there we go. Then we get the Boba Fett shot I was talking about extensively before. What this means is not entirely clear, but I think we're going to have to use our archetype model here. This isn't Boba Fett as a stand-in. I also don't think it's, you know, corporate synergy, but hey, go watch The Mandalorian. Here's a guy in Mandalorian armor. I think this is Boba Fett standing in as the mysterious helmeted person whose allegiance we don't really know. And there is a new helmeted mysterious person whose allegiance we don't really know coming up in the movie, and that's Kerry Russell's character. The next 2 shots are of Han kissing Leia and then getting pulled away to get frozen in carbonite, and Chewie is upset about it. Maybe someone gets arrested, maybe lovers have to get split up, because that's who Leia and Han represent. They're people in a romantic relationship. We know Finn and Rose are in a romantic relationship. Maybe they get split up. Again, I don't know what all this stuff means, but I think this is telling us where the plot points are going to fall and what kind of action we can expect. Next, we get Luke and Vader having the I am your father, that's not true, that's impossible moment, which is about 30 seconds into the trailer, which is halfway through the old stuff territory, which is about the time you would normally get in a classic script when the hero and villain confront each other. This is the first time we've seen the hero and the villain face to face in the trailer, Luke being the hero, Vader being the villain, but they're really stand-ins for Rey and Kylo. It makes sense that they would have a confrontation at this point. The next 2 shots are of Yoda. First, it's just a close-up of Yoda, then we see that he's pulled the X-Wing out of the swamp of Dagobah. Again, this is one of those shots that's out of order compared to the previous shot, so it seems significant that Yoda's doing something impressive with the Force here. Yoda's a good guy, maybe Rey will do something impressive with the Force here. She's our good guy. Something could happen. Again, I don't know. I'm probably overthinking all of this. It's probably just like, hey, remember Yoda? He's cool. Now we're in the Return of the Jedi section, and it starts with a really quick shot of Luke taking a swing at the Emperor. Then we get the much longer reaction shot to that of the Emperor gloating as Luke and Vader's lightsabers clash in front of him. We know that the Emperor is coming back in some way in Episode 9. We don't know how. I think he's still going to be a Force ghost, but that's neither here nor there for the purpose of this video. And we know that Kylo Ren and Rey are going to have a fight on the remains of the Death Star, which is probably where Palpatine's, evil manifestation is haunting or whatever he's doing. So it makes total sense that there's a fight in front of the Emperor with our good guy and our bad guy. That, again, I think is revealing a plot point, not necessarily why it's happening or what's happening exactly, but there's a fight and the Emperor's pulling the strings, as usual. Next, we get the shot of Lando doing his Yahoo moment from the very end of the film as the Death Star is exploding. Then we cut to a scene of the Millennium Falcon flying through the space battle over the Death Star. So again, those scenes are out of order. Since that was a choice that had to be made, I feel like there's some significance there. What that significance is, I'm not sure. But I do know that the shot of Lando doing his Yahoo thing from Return of the Jedi is very similar to the shot of him laughing in the previous trailer. But Lando's there and he's happy about something and there's a big space fight. The next shot is a close-up of Luke as he turns to Darth Vader, and we hear Luke's new voiceover of, "We've passed on all we know, you have 1,000 generations, live in you now," that kind of stuff. In Return of the Jedi, this scene is when Luke becomes, dead set on redeeming Vader. Is Rey going to continue that trend? I don't know. There's not a lot of information to go on here besides the fact that it's just Luke talking about his new VO. So, what does that mean? I'm not sure. Now, I think the next three shots are particularly interesting. We're in the Episode 1 section. The first is Darth Maul lighting his lightsaber. Now, as a highlight reel, this is totally effective. Remember Darth Maul? He was awesome. Here's a shot of Darth Maul being awesome. Okay, that checks out. But the next two shots are of Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon not reacting to him lighting his lightsaber, but about to go fight him some more. I think this is significant because in the grand scheme of things, Qui-Gon doesn't have a whole ton to do with the Skywalker saga. Like, he does set everything in motion, but there are ways to show that visually that have more impact on it. Also, in the grand scheme of the Skywalker saga, Darth Maul really has no importance, very little weight to, he kills Qui-Gon, that's about it. Would Anakin have turned out differently if he was trained by Qui-Gon instead of Obi-Wan? We don't know. That's the purpose of Darth Maul in Episode 1, really. So outside of the fact that Darth Maul is awesome, why is he included in the trailer? And I think it's because of his double-bladed lightsaber, which we absolutely see later on in the trailer. Since the ignition of the double-bladed lightsaber is followed by two allied characters having to fight the person with a double-bladed lightsaber, I think we're gonna have to see Dark Rey versus Kylo? Which is awesome, and also a little confusing because I was definitely on the camp of Dark Rey as a force projection, force ghost, like the Dark Cave on Dagobah kind of thing going on. So I don't know what that means. This is not revealing the movie. I don't think this is spoiling the movie. It's just kind of telling you, like, there's gonna be a fight with a double-bladed lightsaber. Next, we get a shot of Anakin saying goodbye to Shmi on Tatooine, and then a shot of Anakin and Padme kissing. I have literally no idea what this could mean, but it seems significant that these two shots were chosen. Like, if you just want to have a shot, I guess it's a good close-up of Anakin, where he's not wearing, like, a pod racing helmet from Episode 1, but I really don't know what it could reveal. Let me know down below in the comments. We can totally have a conversation about all of this stuff, but there are definitely gaps in my understanding of what's going on here, but I think in December, like on December 21st, we're going to be able to watch this trailer and go, oh, I understand what all these points mean now. The next shot is only the second of two from Attack of the Clones, and it's a shot of a bunch of the Acclamator Star Cruisers, which are like the proto Star Destroyers, taking off from Coruscant at the end of Attack of the Clones. As far as highlight reel goes, this is okay, but it's not amazing. Like, if you really wanted to highlight, the Clone Wars beginning, you'd show a couple seconds earlier where you have, the enormous field of clones in front of the Star Destroyers. So what this shot really is a bunch of triangular-shaped ships flying in formation for the start of a war. What do we see about a minute later into this video? A whole fleet of triangular ships flying in formation, getting ready for war, apparently. The next three shots are kind of interesting because the first is Mace Windu squaring off against the Emperor, then there's Anakin post-Mustafar getting his limbs replaced, and then there's the Emperor celebrating his triumph in the Senate. So if we think this is going to be stand-in for plot points for episode 9, we have a fight with the Emperor, then one of the characters, who's like not really a good guy, gets totally wiped out, gets destroyed and dismembered in all sorts of ways, and then the Emperor is victorious. Again, it cannot be overstated that for highlight reel purposes, this gives you Samuel L. Jackson, the transformation into Darth Vader, and the Empire becoming a thing. These are totally things you like have to talk about in a highlight reel of Star Wars. But it's also significant for what we're talking about in episode 9. And at this point in the trailer, for the Emperor to be victorious, I mean, that would be classic 3-act structure for a script that, you know, the bad guy is winning. Uh-oh. What are we going to do in Act 3? Now we're in the Episode 7 section, and we start with a close-up of Kylo Ren in his mask. Then we get a reverse shot of Darth Vader's broken mask. I think this is going to be like Kylo re-accepting his role as the dark side person, maybe because he has to wear a bunch of armor, because we've seen him get dismembered earlier, which is, A, in keeping with his character thus far in the sequel trilogy, specifically his chance to like rebel against Snoke, and he turns into even more of a dark side person. The next 2 shots in this trailer are of people being sad. First is Leia being sad, and then we have Rey being sad. These are 2 people, if we can take these literally because they're still both, you know, characters in episode 9, who would be upset about Kylo turning to the dark side, which is kind of why I think it's there. The next section is probably the weirdest section of the trailer because it's all about hands. It's 4 shots from both The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. First, it's Kylo Ren and Rey touching each other in the hut on Ahch-To. Then it's Maz Kanata and Rey touching each other in Maz's castle. Then it's Han touching Kylo's face. And then it's when Rey helps Finn stand up. I really don't know what this could signify. Outside of, like, people coming together? One possibility is that at this point in the story, the First Order needs to be taken down and, like, everybody has to rally together to fight them. Like, all the resistance groups and all the people who are dissatisfied with the First Order. That's really vague and doesn't totally signify what's going on, because you've got Rey in 2 of the shots and Kylo Ren in 2 of the shots and Finn, who's the first time he's been in the trailer thus far. So I don't really know what this means, but it's definitely significant because as far as highlight reel goes, hands touching each other, not the most interesting things that could happen. Like if you want to show off Maz, you show off Maz looking somewhere else with her big glasses and stuff, not her hand touching someone else's hand, and you don't see the rest of their bodies. There's a decision here that was made, and I don't know what that is, but I think it's important. Next, we get a shot of BB-8 rolling, which I don't know what the big significance of this is outside of the fact that it's highlighting droids, and we get the shot of 3PO with the red eyes later, so maybe that's important? I don't know. There's not a lot to go on here. It doesn't seem terribly huge. This feels very highlight reely. You're just like, hey, BB-8, he's cool. The next 2 shots kind of scare me in this hypothesis I've developed, because it's Kylo Ren pointing his lightsaber menacingly, followed by Luke kissing Leia on the forehead. I think it's possible that Kylo kills her, which I don't want to be a thing, but could totally be a thing. The next and last 4 shots of the trailer, plus the rising music, suggest a big conflict is coming. First, it's the X-Wings flying over the lake from episode 7, and then a shot of Poe inside one of them. Then you get a shot of the speeders flying in formation from The Last Jedi, and then you get a shot of Rey mid-duel with Kylo Ren as she, like, learns to accept the Force from The Force Awakens. The weird and kind of unsettling thing going on here is that the X-Wings and ski speeders, I think they're called, are flying in different directions, which in the language of filmmaking means conflict. Now, in a Star Wars movie, there should be plenty of conflict, and at this point in the trailer, if it's matching up with the plot points in the movie, would be where the big fight comes. We've got a bunch of X-Wings flying towards danger, and we've got a bunch of speeders flying towards danger. So is there a space battle and a ground battle going on? Possibly. But since they're going from, the X-Wings are going from screen left to screen right, and the speeders are going from screen right to screen left, it suggests that they're going to be fighting each other, and I don't know if that's accurate, because that doesn't really make sense about why the good guys would be fighting the good guys unless everybody's confused about who the good guy is. In their own individual movies, the screen left to screen right and screen right to screen left thing make total sense. In Force Awakens, they're going from left to right, which suggests goodness and properness in English-speaking cultures, which is where the film was made. So going from left to right is a good thing and a natural thing, because those X-Wings are about to just wipe out the First Order, which we see that they do. In The Last Jedi, the speeders are going from right to left, which suggests difficulty and challenge, and we see that that totally plays out because the speeders basically all get destroyed and they don't accomplish the mission that they set out to do. The reason why I'm not 100% nervous about this is because you have that shot of Poe that breaks them up. So it's not left to right, right to left. It's left to right, pause, then right to left. So they're not in direct conflict, but there's still some conflict going on there. But it might just be, hey, there's a battle coming. As for the shot of Rey opening her eyes and like accepting the Force and becoming a Jedi, that's basically her character arc thus far in her trilogy, and this is her moment to shine. Okay, and that's it for the highlight reel portion of the D23 Special Look Episode 9 trailer. I think it's telling us the basic structure of Episode 9. I don't think it's telling us everything, which is good. It shouldn't. It's a trailer. It should, get us excited for it. It shouldn't reveal everything. And I don't think it shows us the climax, because it builds like right before the big fight at the end, which is, where it should stop. Let me know what you think of this crazy, in-depth, overthought analyses down below in the comments. Am I right at all? Is it 70-30 like I think, or is it like 99% chance that I'm wrong, and then another 1% chance that I'm wrong? If I've converted you to my way of thinking, let me know what you think some of those scenes that I didn't know what they meant could be, like BB-8 rolling. I have no idea what that could mean. Or if you think I've totally misinterpreted some scene and you think it has some other secret meaning, let me know down below in the comments too. That'd be fun to have a conversation about this. And I don't think this is spoilering, because this is, wild, irresponsible speculation. We are not talking about concrete plots of the movie. Now, if we're having this conversation on December 21st, be a little bit more careful, but, how likely is that? Anyway, I think that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking with me on this one. I know it was a long one. Please like this video, share it with all of your friends, add it to your favorites. All of these things help me in the long run. And please don't forget to subscribe. That way, in case I do make a video more frequently than every 18 months, you know right away. Thanks, and may the Force be with you. Bye.